Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another rousing game of Changeling the Dreaming, 20th Anniversary Edition in the Living World of Darkness. Today, Alice Amari has called upon Miriam, the governor of Staten Island, to meet up with her. She wishes to express her condolences due to the punishment levied on Miss Amari. However, she cannot leave Queens and has, as such, invited Miriam to meet with her at a restaurant there. So, scene opens on Alice currently sitting at a table by herself, menu up in front of her. She's dressed pretty well right now. Kind of a short A-line outfit, some of her jewelry on. Looks like she has somewhere maybe fancy to go later, but for now she's just sitting there waiting. Um, Currently perusing and then glancing at the door every now and again.
She doesn't have to wait too long before Miriam will show up. And she'll walk directly to where Alice is, and she'll give her a smile.
Alice will smile as well, motion for her to take a seat. Miss Sanger, it's good to see you again.
She'll nod. It's good to see you as well, in her whispered tone. I'm not going to actually whisper because then people won't be able to hear shit.
So I'm sorry to hear the news.
She nods. I, as you know, I was preparing for it. Um, and somewhat expected it, but it actually happening, uh, little little hard to swallow.
You have my condolences.
But the show must go on. So
How's Staten Island doing?
recovering, thanks to your help and the help of others, our own people. We're recovering well. Um, the fires did take a big toll on us, not just as a government, but as people of Staten Island. But nobody's leaving, so that's good. They're sticking behind us and moving forward with us.
Well, I'm really glad that the funds and the manpower proved helpful.
Yes, tremendously. Can't express my appreciation enough.
Well, it's the least I could do. I mean, people suffering are people suffering. Has anyone been able to find out more about why there was a zeppelin falling out of the sky?
All I know is that it had something to do with the vampires fighting with each other.
Well, I'm letting you know. I'm not letting that go. I will look into it. It just the whole nightmare scenario. That crosses way too many lines to ignore, you know?
She nods.
All right. So, and again, I'm sorry for having to make you leave Staten Island. I know it's a busy time.
Okay. I can afford to leave once in a while. Not bound there. But I just hadn't cared to really leave before. But I don't know if you heard the statement that I released yesterday.
Well, I'm stuck here, but I still have eyes and ears.
Um, that I think it was a mistake in the past isolating ourselves. So I have joined with the alliance of the barons and the governing of Brooklyn.
And we appreciate you coming and joining us. I mean, working together, there's so much we can accomplish.
I agree with that. And you all have shown me that it's better when we work together. So I think that we can make a better future for all of us as changelings.
Well, the potential exists, and speaking of which, so there's been issues lately, and one of the things I wanted to warn you about was apparently Nervosa. There was one at the concert.
Usually, where there's one, there are others around. So, on top of everything else going on, we also have Nervosa. She wrinkles her nose. She's not happy about that.
Yeah, and we're decidedly light on people who are capable of dealing with that sort of thing.
hmm
So just be careful. I know Staten's having to rebuild, but that's something we all should be on the watch for.
I appreciate the heads up.
You're more than welcome. And in some hopefully good news, I'm planning a concert in Queens again because I'm here. Um,
I heard that you
Less
made a
sheet
faux
breaking this
pas.
time.
She nods.
On top of which, I know that it's been very difficult for people to recover some of their glamour. I'm hoping the event might be helpful to others.
Yes, I've got the freehold open to those who need it, but can't quite accommodate everybody, you know? The it's getting pretty desperate.
How desperate is it getting in Staten?
Pretty much have people on a rotation, which I can't have everybody sleep there every night. Might look into another freehold or two at some point on the island itself. But I think in general, probably need to establish more freeholds.
Something we're looking at in Manhattan as well. Well, once we have the situation under control, we should really talk about this. Bring it up to the count, maybe. I'll hold a big meeting.
Sounds like a good idea.
Um, as an out of game comment, Carol, if you see this, I am so sorry for the number of NPCs of yours I'm about to bring into this. So we could bring in the barons and baronesses of every barony. I would, of course, be representing Manhattan. Um, we could bring in the governors, and I'm sure we could hammer something out. Maybe, maybe some sort of like what we did with the Balefires before, linking up, creating secondary freeholds, public access. Personally, to get around all the traffic and the rail lines, I wouldn't mind if we had, a trod going to each of them. That way you could just pop in and pop out
That would
like
be
a.
ideal, yes.
I'm glad you agree.
Well, arrange the meeting and let me know when it is, and I will show up.
Wonderful. Of course, who knows how long it's going to take to fix the nightmares in the first place.
Indeed.
I have a meeting with Sir Carraris in a few, hopefully in a couple of days, and at which point in time, if I learn anything, I'll pass it on. Hopefully, someone is going to be able to piece all the pieces together.
Let's hope.
So I didn't just bring you here to discuss business like that, but also, how are you holding up? Is there anything we can do to continue helping?
She thinks. I think for right now, just what you have been doing is enough.
What about for you? I mean, if you'd like to get out more,
Maybe once in a while. I am still. We like the dark. She gives a bit of a smile at that.
well, it's pretty dark to go to, I don't know, death metal concerts.
She nods. Would be interested in that. Yeah. To bring my earplugs, but
Well, I think it'd be a good idea for, you know, those of us who have a responsibility to lead to perhaps, as a way of bridging those gaps and barriers, spend more time together. Like, even if we can't become friends, at least colleagues.
I would like that. Yes.
Great. I'm glad we can make this all work out. Everything's been so trying lately, hasn't it?
Has indeed. I think we're coming to the other side of it. We should hopefully have at least politically, an easier time ahead. Perhaps not. I don't know how the rest of Concordia is dealing with the changes going on here.
That is something. Does anyone know? Other than the Count?
I don't think so. I'll see what I can dig up.
I appreciate it. I'd rather not go before the Count again, even if it is politely requesting information. He'll probably assume that I have some sort of revolution or um, e-sheet breaking or, burning something down to the ground sort of scenario.
I can I can understand that definitely. I have ways of obtaining information. So
I really appreciate it. I wish I had more information to share at this point.
it's all right.
And As a final aside, before we really dig into this lunch, I'm going to be doing a information swap. Swap meet. I think that's the term, like a flea market.
Okay.
I plan on holding it at the coffee shop. You know, the one with the trod in Manhattan. And while I won't personally be able to attend long, I'm planning on sharing whatever I know, inviting others to share what they know. If you'd like to come, since I I have been told on good authority by my friend Caldwell that Slua have a love of knowledge.
We do. Yes. I think this is a good idea.
Great. And they go about their lunch. Afterwards, she has a dinner date with Sebastian.
Yes. So we can just kind of skip over uh that, probably just make some more small talk or whatever. She'll leave, skip over to her going to Sebastian, play a little bit of that out. Alrighty. So later she goes and meets with Sebastian.
Yep. She will be showing up to this in a green see-through dress with one of those opaque undersheets to it, with little flower designs all over it, cap sleeves, big ribbon on the back. Comes in, looking around the place till she can spot him, and then come over. I assume that they're at a nicer inn restaurant because, dates. And so, yeah, she'll just be walking over. Sweetheart.
He lights up when he sees her and takes her hands and pecks her lips. Hello.
Sorry I'm late. I mean, you know how it is in Queens.
Mm-hmm. He nods.
Well, everything's going well over there, at least. Training's going well, and I'll have her fighting forces in tip-top shape against, nightmares and Nervosa at this rate.
He smiles. We really, really, really have to do something about those nightmares.
I'm still trying, but it's getting harder. I mean, glamour's getting more scarce, and Not only that, stuck in Queens. So most of my research is off limits. No reason to be glum though, because hopefully, 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 my meeting with Sir Kars is going to go and provide us with a lot of the information that we're looking for.
He smiles. Yes, I hope that that does indeed go well. How are things? Have you heard about how things are over in Brooklyn?
Everyone seems to think that it's great, I guess. I mean, they're not, they don't bring up a lot of what's going on in Brooklyn.
He nods.
Uh, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's I think the term you use is a black box. Stuff goes in, no idea what comes out.
He laughs. So the heat on me from them has died down, though, I think, especially after I thought that they had been invited to the Alliance already, but was informed that they were not, so I took care of that yesterday.
Well, they seem hell-bent on getting concessions from Manhattan. We're not exactly their favorite.
Why? Because I called them out on their bullshit? Shakes his head. Whatever.
I'll be honest, I really don't like the way they wield it like it's almost a gun up to everyone's head. A threat of revolution if we don't get what we want. And I understand the Count is just trying to keep the balance, and honestly, we're the most egregious offenders right now, but
In my opinion, I'm very sure if Count Leon wanted to end this little thing that they're doing in Brooklyn, he would. Just need to call the Duke. Duke would have no issues putting that down.
you know how much the Lion really loves to his reputation.
He nods, indeed. I don't have a problem with what they're doing. I have a problem with their ego and their attitude. It seems that they think because they achieved their goal that everything should just be handed to them now, and they don't have to work for anything else.
She nods her head.
coming after me for providing a place for those that they discarded and calling them out about it just shows. He kind of smirks. The tables have turned a little bit. I don't think I'm the childish one anymore.
I think the worst that can be said about us is that we're reckless. We're not
Shrugs.
exactly the most politically minded of the group.
Hmm. Getting better about it though.
True.
We were the ones who reached out and helped Staten Island.
And I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, and I'm fixing my mistake in Queens. I have another
Good.
concert, a less problematic concert planned.
Smiles. Good. We all make mistakes. You made a decent one.
And I'll pay for the consequences. Fortunately, it did everything I wanted. So the price was high, but you have to pay a high price for high quality. She has a broad smile on her face.
Yeah, he smiles back to her like, oh my god.
You know what they say in show business? There's no such thing as bad publicity.
It's very true. Any attention is attention.
It also got the money we needed to help out Staten Island, and I was able to find a Nervosa. I mean, that was just icing on the cake, but
Very true.
and it turned my minor breach into a major one because I was not anticipating that. And that brings me to some really good news.
Oh,
Yeah. So I learned that there's a little more going on than we think.
oh.
hmm The Count knows about forces that are well beyond us.
Mhm.
And depending on whether or not this is going to be too big of a favor to ask, I think I can use that to try to find out more about why a Zeppelin fell on Staten Island.
He nods. Why?
Well, apparently some sort of um, creatures were involved.
His brows go up a little bit.
She leans over and whispers, Miriam mentioned vampires.
Oh my.
So those are apparently real.
Uh, I had a feeling they were, but I've- wow. Okay. He shakes his head.
He's looking into things about it. I'm going to look into things about it. And if it takes talking to the Count, then I'll talk to the Count. And I think that's good news, though, because I really don't like the idea of them dropping more Zeppelins on us.
I want to know how they even got Zeppelins in the first place. Like, those are not easy to get.
Maybe it was like in Helsing, and they're Nazi vampires who have been part of the Third Reich and in shadows since World War II and had it in a secret bunker somewhere in Germany.
You know, I, I could actually probably go with that explanation. Holy God.
Next thing you know, we're going to be hearing about the rise of Dracula, and he's going to be wielding some sort of magic desert eagles.
You know, at this point, I'm not ruling anything out. Like, and I'm also I hope that we figure out how to stop these nightmares soon.
Well, again, Charles likely has some information that can be helpful.
Good.
And in more pressing news, anything happening in Manhattan while I've been away?
Not really, nothing worth, which is good. Like we haven't had any problems. There was somebody you needed to introduce me to, right?
Yes. I brought him by the freehold, but his name is Ephraim.
Okay.
He's like you, except he just came back
Oh my.
from the same house.
He smiles. Oh, that's good.
Pissed off Misha. Well, she says she wasn't mad, but annoyed Misha upon his arrival. And is not taking the news about what happened in Brooklyn well at all.
I can imagine not. He's an Arcadian. Yeah. He nods. I'll get in touch with him soon and hopefully he'll make a very good addition to my court. Use another housebow around.
She nods her head. Never know when something dark and evil like a Tulane might pop up, right?
Mm-hmm. He nods. Exactly. And maybe since he is freshly back and of my house, which means he might remember a fair bit, he might be able to provide some fresh insight into these nightmares.
Maybe. He's he's going to definitely need some orientation though.
I can imagine. But too much going on for me to be able to see anything, which kind of irks me a bit, but I'm not going to drive myself mad trying to gain insight into these nightmares.
Well, you know, Mara and the Baku. There's almost something romantic about that. Necessary to uphold reality itself, but causing that reality just as many problems as they solve. Needing to stay in balance. It's kind of like us right now.
He nods. And it's conflict between them that is causing this, right?
No, actually.
No.
It's something to do with one of them being out of balance with the other. Um, Out of step.
Hmm. So they
Uh,
got off out of sync.
mm-hmm. But when they're in sync together, no problems.
So you just need to figure out how to harmonize them again. Hmm.
We're gonna have to plan a strategy in the future. I mean, when it comes to relationship stuff and being able to make time for each other, we're doing good there. But as two ruling people, so I would like to be there for the non-secret house stuff. Whenever, whenever you do meet with him, if that's okay.
Of course.
Great. I'll be backing you and standing beside you at every step of the way. And if he turns out to be, I will not let him grate against my nerves like I did with um, Sir Christian. I promise.
Good. Hopefully, he won't be like Sir Christian.
He didn't threaten to duel anyone.
Then he's already 100% better.
And he does remember that he was a knight.
Oh, fantastic. We'll have to get together and get him sorted out and bring him up to speed and then see what we can do about making him a knight under me.
She nods her head. And with everything changing like it is, it's been high time I changed too. So
Oh,
I'm getting more involved.
what are you doing?
Already making plans for some announcements, some proclamations, but mostly outreach. I'm going to be going back amongst the people, talking with them, sharing my presence, letting everyone know I'm going to be there. It's something I learned from reading about Eleanor Roosevelt. She apparently did this thing with your presidency stuff. Being first lady, she did outreach programs and really brought national attention to issues using the fact that she was the first lady.
He nods. Yes. So you're going to take a page out of her book.
Yes.
Good.
I'll try not to take too many of the pages where she told people off.
If you didn't tell anybody off, I would wonder who you were and what you did with my wife. Just make sure you do it tactfully.
Which I'm learning. Doing my best to learn.
And I'm very proud of you. You have come a long way.
So
And
have you,
I,
she says, leaning across the table, giving him a kiss.
he kisses her. Thank you. Thank you for being by my side. I don't know what I would do without you.
Be deposed. Currently living in squalor. Manhattan would be part of Brooklyn. And Count Leon would be absolutely furious with everything. And, well, okay, so that wouldn't be any different.
He laughs. I think that man will always be furious with everything, but it's okay. Mm.
And I think on that touching moment is a good place to end scene.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, STs, for showing up. And thank you,